Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And next is finally get around this one. It's the next entry in the Land Before Time series, the Land Before Time: Journey of the Brave, which now it's the 14th film in the Land Before Time series. And I reviewed all the Land Before Time films and the series as well. You can check that out. I reviewed the whole franchise. And it's the first one. It's the last one was from Wisdom of Friends. Was all the way back in 2007. Almost 10 years later, finally came around for another film. Which I don't understand why it makes so long to make another one. I mean, just like it's been like year after year, they've been popping out these sequels left and right, and all of a sudden they stopped making for like almost 10 years. It's not that hard to come up with. Well, maybe they want to take a break, I don't know. And there was other ideas before the Journey of the Brave title. There was other ideas that I think I explained in my reviews of the franchise. There were some other titles that seemed interesting to me. I forget what they're called though, but you can look it up though if over time, whatever. But yeah. So yeah, the Land Before Time, Journey of the Brave, and it's after the series because Chomper and Ruby are in this, so it's after the series. And some voices. Like, once again, we got another voice replacement for Littlefoot, which has been the previous voice from some other films in the series as well. But I think that the same person who's voicing Sarah is still the same. Same with Ducky, Petrie, and Spike. And the same voice for Grandma Longneck, but sadly though, a new guy is voicing Grandpa Longneck by the name of Barry Bostwick, because after like a couple years after the series, well, actually more more than a few years after the series, the TV show, throughout this whole franchise, Kenneth Mars, who voiced Grandpa Longneck all throughout the franchise. And Grandpa Kenneth Mars, he also voiced King Triton in The Little Mermaid, as well as he played Inspector Kemp in Young Frankenstein. He was funny in that movie. Loved him in that movie, actually. But he voiced Grandpa Longneck throughout this whole franchise, and then after the series, and then I think back in 2012, 11, 13. It's around that time he passed away. So if they did another Land Before Time film after the series, before that, maybe he still had one more chance to maybe do another one though, but no. So this guy named Barry Bostwick voices Grandpa Longneck now, and for the film, I would say he's not horrible though, but just it's not the same without Kenneth Mars. I'm sure if they did like another thing on The Little Mermaid, it sure won't be the same without him voicing King Triton. It's just, I don't think it was not terrible though. It's not the same without Kenneth Mars, who plays Grandpa Longneck. I'm watching this like, yeah, this is not the same without Kenneth Mars, you know. So yeah, and even the actor who voiced him, Sarah's father, which Tria called him Topsy, is voiced by James Remar. It's not this. I think it's just a different voice. The voice is different, and it's clearly not the same. Not the same as the previous guy who voiced Sarah's father. So, but this is the same voices for Chomper and Ruby as well. So after this, Littlefoot is excited because his father, Bronn, is coming back to the Great Valley because he leads a migrating herd. And he's excited for his father's returning. And this is the same voice. Well, Littlefoot's father debuted in the film in the 10th film, the great long neck migration, and that was voiced by Kiefer Sutherland. But in the series, but in an episode in the series, it's voiced by a different actor, and the same voice who did in that episode in the series comes back as the voice of Braun. I like Kiefer Sutherland when he voiced in the 10th film. Of course, look at all the film, like his track record, it didn't seem to be that busy to make another voice guest, you know. But I wish it was still Kiefer Sutherland. So, but when he's excited, and but when the herd comes in, and when he doesn't see his father, thinks something is wrong, and they get advice for what happened by a feathered dinosaur by the name of Wild Arms, voiced by Damon Wayans Jr., who's the son of actor Damon Wayans. And Damon Wayans, comedic actor, but I remember him from The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and Major Payne. So yeah, that's his son, Damon Wayans Jr., as Wild Arms. He gives a story about what happened, saying that his father was separated because there was a volcano erupted called Fire Mountain. So Littlefoot's wondering if his father was alright. So and since the adults don't want to go with him, he decides to set out on the journey by himself to find his father. But of course, the gang, they go with him, of course. Except that Chomper and Ruby, they stay behind. For some reason, they stay behind. Because, the series, this is after the series, and they're always together. For some reason, they just put them behind. And also, another weird thing is that also in the beginning, opening the film, when, where Ducky and Spike are waiting for more brothers and sisters to hatch, I'm like, doesn't they already have brothers and sisters? So I guess now here they don't exist. So now there's a new nest of eggs for their brothers and sisters to hatch. That's another thing. I guess that's another error or something, because Ducky and Spike already had brothers and sisters in the show, and also including the films. But now I guess there is a new. I don't know what happened to them. So I guess there's a new batch of hatchlings. So anyway, they said they go on the journey, and they follow, and Littlefoot follows the directions that Wild Arms told them through this crack due to the earth shake, which they call it, but it's earthquake. And then through this valley where there's these feathered sharp teeth at, then the moving water, and then to get to the Fire Mountain. And they reach this the canyon where it's been split. And of course, it's always a coincidence how this is to get across. There's always a tree that's right on the edge of the cliff, so them to push down, or already a down tree that's already for them to cross. That happens throughout the whole show. It's always a big coincidence that there's a down tree that's being crossed, or there's always a tree standing up so we can push it down. That's always a coincidence. It's always through this whole thing. That's very convenient. That's what I meant to say. Very convenient. It's always convenience for them. So they cross it and they enter the but they can't go because the sharp teeth will smell them. So they get the idea to there's this pool that's called stinkweed. It's so smelly they'll hide their scent from the shark teeth. So they sing a song about it. What song was it? Hot and Stinky. And they sing a song before the opening of the film called Today's the Day, where Littlefoot sing about his father. But Hot and Stinky, yeah. As they're moving in, they think that it's working because they can't smell them. But of course, there's also a pond where they can drink water, but they started playing the water, and even Littlefoot's like, no. Now, because of their stupidity, that washes off the smell, and they get chased because of that now. And then they get into view where the Fire Mountain is. They're all standing on a ledge, and Littlefoot's like, "Hey, the ledge can't hold our weight." But of course, thanks to Sarah, goes, "Oh, I want to see." And she puts her foot down. Of course, they all slide down, and then this is when they, of course, once again they get into another fight. It's always a bit of a fight between Littlefoot and Sarah. You know, Littlefoot snaps them saying, "Well, you're slowing me down, and all of you too. I'm going alone." And that's when they get the song "Better Off Alone." And then there's this sandstorm that blows in. Littlefoot gets blown into this. Well, he goes in this cave, but but it's too strong, so he tries to run back out, but he gets blown back in. And that's where he meets Ida, voiced by Reba McEntire. Yeah. So another special guest voice, Reba McEntire. That's what this whole series I like. It has a few special guest voices here and there. So yeah, Reba McEntire is another one of them. She tells Littlefoot, well, they try to go because they got caved in with sand, but then there's another cave in, and he explains he needs to find his friends and find his father, and Ida knows who he is because she was a part of that herd that got separated. She was there. She got a little singe on the arm due to one of the fireballs, and he saw Braun. She saw Braun. And then she didn't see him because there was like smoke, making couldn't see him. So that's last time she saw him. So, and then while that's going on, Sarah thinks she can lead them, but of course her ego thinks she's smarter and she knows where to go. That's the thing about this whole franchise. She has this ego because thinking her species are much smarter, tougher, and stronger. But it's not all that true. She ends up making them get lost, and then getting chased by another sharp tooth. And they hide in this little space here. And Littlefoot and Ida, they're following this little small river down this cave. And they hear them, and Ida pokes her head through this little hole where they are and says, "Hey, you can come on down here." And that's where they escape through the sharp tooth. And Littlefoot and Sarah, they apologize to each other, and they follow this river, and they... Oh, and before they meet with his friends, Reba McEntire, Ida sings to Littlefoot, which I think is a pretty good song, because Reba McEntire, I don't think she's not a horrible singer. I think she's decent, because I enjoyed her in Tremors, and that the end credits of Tremors, there's a song by her, so I don't think she's not terrible. I think she's pretty decent. Yeah, because I enjoy her in Tremors. Which is... the poster's right there, if you can barely see it. Next to Congo. But I liked her in Tremors. So her singing in this, look for the light, one little spark. So yeah, I thought that her song that was pretty decent, and right there on the back of the DVD, there's Reba McEntire. So yeah, that's when after that they meet with their friends, and then they follow down the river where there's this cave where all these sparkling colored crystals, which is good looking, visually good looking. Little colorful scene right there where they go with these crystals and it's all glowing different colors. Even there's also colored mushrooms there. So, and then they head out. They get close there at the Fire Mountain, and while that's going on, Chomper and Ruby, they can't find Littlefoot, and they tell his grandparents, and they all know, including with Sarah's father, they know that they've gone out looking for Littlefoot's father. So, Grandpa Longneck, Sarah's father, Chomper, and Ruby, they get Wild Arms to tell them where they're going, the directions. And of course, also on their way, they come across the same sharp tooth, the second sharp tooth that was after Sarah and the others. Like, they were hiding and they're being quiet. Of course, Wild Arms, he can't be quiet. He almost gets them caught, but thankfully the sharp tooth was distracted by another small herd of dinosaurs. And I think that's a nitpick. I don't think that Damon Wayans Jr. I think that the character, he was kind of a little bit of annoying. All he does is scream and whatever, and just You know, he doesn't know when to shut up because he almost gets them caught. Grandpa Longneck and the others, because he wouldn't be quiet. You know, I think that's like the only nitpick. I don't think it's not. There's a lot of worse voices though, but Wild Arms. I think that's like the only nitpick I have. I think it was kind of a little bit of annoying though, but not terrible, not horrible, but just a little bit of it though. And then they reach the fire mountain. They see down where the lava pit is, and they find Littlefoot's father in the middle of the lava pool on a rock, and his legs caught on some piece of rock. So Littlefoot takes charge, and where Sarah needs to push this rock to let the water flow to harden the lava, and the rest of them push over this tree trunk so they can lift the rock off of his leg. In which, by the way, yeah, when Sarah knocks the rock and the water hardens the lava, of course they just step on it like it's nothing. Of course, it still be hot after even when it's being cooled off, but the methods of geology does not apply in this because, yeah, even though the lava's been cooled off, it's still hot. So they step on it like it's nothing. This is funny, but they get the rock off and they make it across safely. And as when Grandpa Longneck and the others they arrive, and the film ends with the narrator ending saying that with Littlefoot and his friends that they'll be together till the end of days in the land before time. So, but yeah, Land Before Time, or Land Before Time 14, Journey of the Brave. I still enjoy. I enjoy the film. Why I say it's one of my favorite of the sequels. It's hard to say because I have other ones I enjoyed. I said before the first films of the series that I still say the best is 1 through 5. Maybe I'll add 6 to it though, but 1 through 5 are still my favorites of the series. But as for the rest goes, I like all of them though, but I don't say they're not my favorites of the series. The best ones still is 1 through 5. I think like maybe the other sequels. I think Source Rock is another one I like, a favorite though. But the other ones I still like. None of my favorites though. Maybe I'll put this along with Source Rock maybe. But the rest I still enjoy though. I still enjoy the whole franchise. I still enjoy the TV series, which they kept going with it though. Yeah, and also wondering though. Yeah, it's like almost 10 years. They come with a new one, and I was wondering if with the new one they still look the same. They're still the same age. I still wondered if they would make a new one when time's a little gone past or a year or two later, and they're a little bit older, like when they're teenagers. Maybe. I still like to see a Land Before Time film when they're just a little more older, a little more grown up, and go on some adventures. I still like to see that though. That's just me though, but I mean, I would like to see when they're a little bit more grown up and having fun together. If they decide to make another sequel, I just hope it doesn't take almost 10 years. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, with the whole series, it's like coming out for year after year after year, and I don't think why it's so hard to come up with another sequel. I mean, take one of the ideas that I mentioned, like my review of the franchise, like towards the end of the franchise. There's some ideas that of some cool looking titles, but I think it was like the Sparkling Forest or something like that, and it was one of those titles I was looking at online, and why don't you take one of those ideas and make that into a film? I mean, it's not that hard to make especially with this is a multi-million-dollar franchise, especially this is a childhood franchise of mine that I grew up loving, especially with the first six of the first six of the films. I mean, it's a childhood franchise of mine, and I don't see how that hard is to wait like that. Like takes like almost 10 years to come up with one after, since the last one was in 2007. The series was like 2008, I think. I don't think what's so hard to make another. Well, I know because I'm not in filmmaking. I know that, but I'm saying. I mean, especially for children's films. I mean, you got all these other kids shows that pops up left for a franchise that comes up left and right, and why? Because no one is taking interest in Land Before Time. No, there's still people. There's still kids who enjoy the Land Before Time show. I am still. I don't care how old I am. I still. It's part of my childhood. I ain't letting go of that. So, I still enjoy the. But I'm just pointing out though. Some ideas for another film, and I like to see another film when they're a little more grown up. And I just hope and then it's also for 82 minutes, and it's very fast paced. So the songs I think are decent. Reba McEntire's song "Look for the Light" is the best one of the bunch. She does fine. I think she does absolutely fine voicing as Ida. Damon Wayans Jr. He is decent at best though, but I think this character was a little bit annoying because he does to scream and doesn't want to be quiet. But I'm just saying some ideas though. For if you want to make another film, use one of those made up titles that's been made up by people online. They look interesting ideas to me, like the one I remember, like Sparkling Forest or something like that. I would like to see something like that. But yeah. But that's my review for The Land Before Time, Journey of the Brave. I still enjoy it, and I still always enjoy this franchise. Still watch it to this day. And you can also check my review on all the films in this TV series. I reviewed the whole franchise. Like I said, you can check all those out. It'll always be a classic franchise, a kids franchise to me. That's why I always enjoy this. Franchise. The only thing is, I just hope it doesn't take that long to make another. It doesn't take that long to make another one. So yeah. But that's my review for it. I give a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.